into another installment of the 94 Podcast. I'm Brooke Edel here with the 94 Podcast. We got a lot to jump into. We got the coaching carousel to talk about a lot of hires this week. As you just saw, Jesse Minter with the Baltimore Ravens. He just replaced this man walking up the stairs here, John Harbaugh, new head coach for the New York Football Giants. So 5 of the spots have been taken out of the 10. The Las Vegas Raiders, they still don't have their head coach. They have the number 1 pick. More likely they're going to go with this guy, Fernando Mendoza. He is declared officially for the NFL draft. His LinkedIn profile is officially saying open for work. And he did put in the work against the Miami Hurricanes. He's projected to be the number 1 pick, quarterback out of Indiana. And what a story, what a storybook story for Fernando Mendoza to be the number 1 pick, Cuban, Miami native. But for the head coaching tracker, who is going to be the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders? Mike Tomlin comes to mind, Sean McDermott, who just got let go by the Buffalo Bills, Mike McCarthy, that's somebody that is also being rumored to make a comeback. This would be wild. Bill Belichick. I mean, if the hoodie makes a comeback and he coaches the Las Vegas Raiders, just imagine how crazy that would. That would just be insane. Not only do you have Tom Brady as a mentor and a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, you could potentially have Bill Belichick on the sidelines crafting the defense, and you get Fernando Mendoza number 1 overall. I think that would be the ultimate dream for any Las Vegas Raiders fan. I know with the current roster of free agents, of coaching candidates, we did mention those the first 3 with Mike Tomlin, Sean McDermott, both quality coaches with winning cultures, and Mike McCarthy winning a Super Bowl as well. With Aaron Rodgers and with his past success, I don't know if he would be the one that would go to Las Vegas. I'm expecting a huge splash with the Raiders to make sure that they do not mess this up, because they have not had too much success with the number 1 pick. I know last time that they had a huge pick like this was with Jamarcus Russell. He was a big flop. And taking a look at the offense for the Raiders, it hasn't been impressive. They were last in almost every category. And what we might see is maybe a Joe Brady get an opportunity, a young upstart coach that was the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. He might be getting the call. And also with Clint Kubiak, who is the head coach, the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, who are in the NFC Championship game. We'll talk about the NFC Championship and the AFC Championship game coming up here on the 94 Podcast, live in the CCX studios. Glad to be here. I know it's really cold and icy out there, so be careful, everybody, especially with these sub-zero temperatures. And some crazy news this week, too, with Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers actually interviewing with the Buffalo Bills. That is amazing in itself. Not only did he come back at age 44, but he potentially could have that Hall of Fame career trajectory of going from a high school football coach to an active quarterback to potentially a head coach of an NFL team. Just imagine Philip Rivers on the sidelines coaching Josh Allen. I think that would be kind of neat to see that in seeing what Philip Rivers was able to do in his return. But now he might be making a return to the NFL sidelines as an NFL head coach. He went 0 for 3 in his return with the Indianapolis Colts, but this might be a different situation now that he's no longer going to be the signal caller, but he's going to be the one on the sidelines, and he gets Josh Allen, and you get to see Josh Allen's stats from this year. He had 39 total touchdowns, so an offensive weapon. Only 10 interceptions. I know there was costly interceptions in that AFC in that AFC divisional game that eliminated them before making it to this weekend. In that, in turn, Sean McDermott lost his job, and again, it was kind of a situation where you didn't expect Buffalo to be in one of those open, vacant head coaching opportunities, in January. Like you're expecting them to still be playing, but we sit here and we're talking about potentially Philip Rivers coming in and being the new head coach for Philip Rivers. Or again, we did talk about Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, again, he's kind of that gray cloud where he's that ominous cloud in that AFC in that AFC East where he's very familiar with all those teams. And if the Bills were able to get him, that would be the sensei versus the student in both Mike Vrabel and Bill Belichick, and that would be twice a year. And we'll talk more about the AFC Championship game that will provide the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos an opportunity to make it to Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara. We got a lot to talk about there with a lot of headlines. Bo Nix ruled out with a fractured ankle on the second to last play in the AFC divisional win against the Buffalo Bills. And Sean Payton's talking about he believes that Jarrett Stidham has the calmness and that is elite for a leader for his football team. We'll see how Jarrett Stidham is able to step in. But before we get into the AFC Championship game, let's continue here on the coaching carousel. The Browns have yet to file a complaint with the Rooney Rule. So we'll see who the Browns are going to end up with. There's still opportunities for Anthony Weaver, Vance Joseph, who is a defensive coach for the Denver Broncos, who's still fighting for their Super Bowl ticket still. And you still have Leslie Frazier, another candidate who is an assistant coach with the Seattle Seahawks. You got David Shaw, a passing coordinator with the Detroit Lions. So again, the Browns, we know that they were trying to get Mike McDaniel, but Mike McDaniel declined to be officially interviewed with them, and Mike McDaniel ended up with the Los Angeles Chargers this week. So it's going to be interesting to see where the Browns go with their head coaching job, because now with Kevin Stefanski in Atlanta and having moved on, let's see who the Browns bring in. This ownership group is going to be interesting to see who they are. The Haslam ownership group with the Cleveland Browns, they are committed to winning. Let's see who they bring in, because they do have a promising young roster. I mean, they did hit on a lot of their draft picks. We'll see how the Cleveland Browns kind of change, the trajectory of that franchise, because we didn't see that in this last year. But we'll see what Shadur Sanders is able to do. They also have a lot to look forward to with Quinshon Judkins, and realizing that they got a great bit of talent with the Cleveland Browns. And what I'm also looking at is they have an opportunity with the Cleveland Browns to really elevate, because they are not expecting anything in the AFC North. And with a new head coach, we could definitely see a transition in the AFC North, because Mike Tomlin's out, John Harbaugh, as we mentioned, he's out, and we know that Jesse Minter, possibly Chris Shula could be going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we're kind of surprised, too, that the Bengals have kept Zach Taylor. And we don't know how long Zach Taylor will be there, because he is still on the hot seat, having not produced a winning season this last 2 seasons. I know Joe Burrow's health has been in question. But again, there a lot of questions in the AFC North. The Cardinals are also looking for a head coaching spot. We did mention the Buffalo Bills. We did talk a little bit about the Cleveland Browns and the Las Vegas Raiders. The Pittsburgh Steelers, though, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers had a really good opportunity to potentially nab Brian Flores, but Brian Flores is going to be coming back to the Minnesota Vikings. That's huge news for the Minnesota Vikings, being able to retain Brian Flores, because for a while it looked like he was going to be scooped up by one of these teams, especially seeing that Baltimore and Pittsburgh and then Buffalo, all those really attractive jobs did open up this coaching cycle. We did see Robert Saleh. He did sign with the Tennessee Titans in his second tenure as a head coach. So there is opportunity for Brian Flores, and I think if Robert Saleh is able to get another chance, I think Brian Flores has earned his way back to get another chance. And as we mentioned, John Harbaugh with the New York Football Giants, I think that is huge in regards to you get Jackson Dart, Cam Scadaboo, Malik Neighbors, Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Tyler Nubin, a defense that can be structured to win a lot of football games, especially in that division. That division is wide open, the NFC East. Philadelphia has a lot of questions. Washington, again, they have questions. We don't know what Dallas is going to be next year. The New York Giants could definitely be a dark horse next year. And I would give the grade for the New York Giants an A on being able to scoop John Harbaugh from the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, I feel like it was a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction on letting go of John Harbaugh. I was expecting him to be able to get one more year to come back with Lamar Jackson healthy, and he was not healthy this year. So it was very much a tough battle for John Harbaugh all season. And when that kick was missed in Pittsburgh, the writing was on the wall for John Harbaugh. The last time he won the Super Bowl was back in 2012. It seems so long ago for Baltimore to have success in the postseason and for them to miss the playoffs in such a dramatic fashion. That was the final blow for him in Baltimore. But I'm glad that he's able to get this chance with the New York Giants. It should be exciting football in New York once again, especially with defense. I think that defense is definitely going to be revamped and it's going to be opportunistic. And you might see a couple of the players from Baltimore in free agency be attracted to go sign with the New York Giants. Following up with Jesse Minter, let's take a look at Jesse Minter. I think he was a surprise to get this job right off the bat, because I was expecting maybe maybe there was going to be a little bit more of a veteran hire, but they go with a young first-time head coach in Jesse Minter. But he is familiar with Baltimore, and he was under John Harbaugh during that time. And what we're seeing is with John Harbaugh in his coaching tree, they're getting the opportunity in Baltimore. So this could be a resurgence as well for Baltimore, just being able to get a fresh start with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Kyle Hamilton. Just a great core in Baltimore. It's just they haven't been able to get over the hump in the playoffs, and then also the slow starts throughout the season. We'll see how that goes, but I would give Jesse Minter a B. And also taking a look at the other coaching hires, there was a coaching hire. We did mention Kevin Stefanski being hired by the Atlanta Falcons after a couple of stakes. Curious to find out how Kevin Stefanski had his stake ordered with Arthur Blank, but that's kind of a mob boss kind of a way to offer somebody a job. And Arthur Blank, ceases to amaze, and he offered him a job after the steak dinner at his house. The key there with Kevin Stefanski with the Atlanta Falcons is what will he do with Bijan Robinson? I think Bijan Robinson is going to be key to everything in Atlanta. You've got to be able to get him the ball, and then also you got to figure out the quarterback situation. We had Michael Penix Jr., and then he got injured, and then he missed time, and then you had Kirk Cousins. It'll be a little bit of a controversy, I think, going into this offseason on who will be the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, but competition is good, and we'll be able to see how Kevin Stefanski is able to handle this the second time around, because with Dillon Gabriel and Shadur Sanders, he did not pass the eye test on being able to choose the right guy and go with the right guy right away. Shadur Sanders, the cream always rises to the top, did end up ending the season as the Browns starting quarterback. We'll see with Michael Penix Jr. if his development does continue with Kevin Stefanski as his head coach, or do we see another quarterback being brought in for a competition? Because that is what Atlanta's they're a quarterback away from competing for this division, because that is the reason why Raheem Morris got let go, because with that roster, with that talent, and kind of surprising that they let go of the GM, but both of them are out. But now with Kevin Stefanski in, with the new GM, that is going to be the key thing, is getting the quarterback position right. You got a really good defense. You drafted really well on defense. So that's why I'm a little bit of a shock that they let go of the GM. But with a clean slate, let's see how Atlanta operates. I give the Kevin Stefanski hiring a C+. He still has to prove it to me on being able to actually have a little bit more chemistry with his quarterback. It seemed like he does not have a really good rapport, and that's coming from Baker Mayfield. This is not just a Shadur Sanders conversation, but with Cleveland, he has burned bridges with his quarterbacks. When they shipped off Baker Mayfield, he didn't even give him a call or said, hey, thank you for your service here in Cleveland. This is the number one pick, and Baker Mayfield said to the media, he said, hey, I'm looking forward to it because I got shipped off like a piece of garbage, and that's how Kevin Stefanski, still waiting for a call from him. So I know Baker Mayfield is ready for those matchups between Atlanta and Tampa Bay, and Atlanta is the reason why Tampa Bay didn't make the playoffs this year by beating the New Orleans Saints. And then the Saints, the entire NFC South is wide open. You got the Saints, you got the Panthers, you got the Falcons, and you got the Buccaneers. So that would be an interesting division to watch to see if Kevin Stefanski is able to have success there. Same as Jesse Minter in that AFC North that we mentioned earlier at the top. And then this brings us back to the AFC East, where Jeff Hafley, defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, was hired as their new head coach. Kind of a surprise. I thought Chris Shula was a tailor-made candidate for the Miami Dolphins to make a homecoming. His dad is Don Shula. His granddad is Don Shula. So that was kind of a surprise that they looked past Shula and they went with Jeff Hafley. Jeff Hafley, defense. I know he's not going to get Micah Parsons this time around, but we'll see what he's able to do with Bradley Chubb and the Miami Dolphins pass rush, because I think that's going to be key to the success for the Miami Dolphins, and also Devin A-Chain being able to get a good run game, and a lot of question marks with Tua Tagovailoa. You don't know if, I think you might be looking at a quarterback in this draft, because I don't know if he's going to be your answer. He's definitely had a lot of question marks in the time that he's played for Miami. So Jeff Hafley, uphill battle. You get Josh Allen twice, and you also get Drake May twice. And we'll talk more about Drake May in the AFC Championship game. You get the New York Jets. I mean, again, the New York Jets, you just don't know. They're kind of the wild card in that AFC East, but they can't be as bad as they were this past year. But with Aaron Glenn coming back and Mike Vrabel coming back, those two will be the most senior head coaches in the AFC East, with both Buffalo and Miami letting go of their head coaches at the end of the season. Mike McDaniel will be in Los Angeles, as we mentioned at the top, and Sean McDermott, we don't know where he will land. He potentially could end up finding a suitor either with the Las Vegas Raiders, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cleveland Browns, and the Arizona Cardinals. Those are the 4 other jobs that could be open for Sean McDermott. We don't know with Mike Tomlin. I think Mike Tomlin also raises the question on whether he will retire for a year, because he does have opportunities to do TV. But I know he will not be out of a job for very long. And Mike Tomlin definitely made some shockwaves after that playoff exit against the Houston Texans when he announced his resignation as being the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers after 19 seasons. So I know Mike Tomlin, hope the best for him. What a class act Mike Tomlin is. And Hall of Fame coach, never had a losing season. So if he does hang it up and, he wants to, become, back as a civilian, he was already spotted at his daughter's volleyball event, a sporting match. So it's awesome to see that Mike Tomlin's back and just living his life. So if Mike Tomlin hangs it up, what a career, Hall of Fame career. But again, Clint Kubiak, these are some serious candidates in this coaching carousel that we're taking a look at with Clint Kubiak with the Seattle Seahawks. We'll see in the NFC Championship game if he's able to outwit Chris Shula. So these are 2 potential head coaches going up against each other in one of the biggest games on Championship Sunday. We'll take a closer look and on those matchups on what Sam Darnold is able to do with Clint Kubiak, and having the number 1 wide receiver in the game in JSN this season, had the receiving title, and I'm really intrigued to see how he matches up against Chris Shula's Rams defense on, how they're able to limit what Sam Darnold's able to do, especially with the play action. And they're using Kenneth Walker, K9, who was just dynamic in that NFC divisional win against the San Francisco 49ers. And also with the Los Angeles Rams being able to take away Caleb Williams and his playmaking ability, and all the weapons that Chicago had. And this was in the cold, so whatever the climate is going to be in Seattle, more likely it's going to be rainy, probably in the 30s, and that's going to be perfect for the Seattle Seahawks, because that's exactly what they have been expecting from day one. And this is what Mike McDonald was preaching in OTAs with the Seattle Seahawks. Like, hey, this is going to be how we're going to envision how we're going to get to the Super Bowl. This is going to be the roadmap for our home field advantage. And great show coming up between these two in Clint Kubiak and Chris Shula. And I think that is what's going to just entice everybody that is, battling for the last 5 coaching spots here. Is, hey, the Arizona Cardinals, they have a lot of potential with their defense. You know, they drafted well. They did a really good job on you know, setting up their offense, even with injuries, to have success. You got Trey McBride. You have a lot of really good pieces in Arizona, and we'll see who gets these last 5. But I know the Bills probably is going to be one of the top ones, because obviously you get Josh Allen. You have already an MVP quarterback in the building. So no surprise on Philip Rivers, you know, putting hands up like, hey, I can coach the Bills. I mean, I think if he's going to have to wait an additional 5 years, why not go for a Super Bowl with the you know, the arm and legs of Josh Allen leading that charge for the Buffalo Bills. And the other coaches that I'm looking at here is Jim Bob Cooter, Anthony Weaver. There's a lot of other names that are out there, but these are the ones that I've just kind of just focused on, because I think that that's where we're heading towards in regards to who we can expect to be the top candidates in the coaching carousel. But yeah, lots of stuff to really break down here for the AFC and the NFC. But there's still 5 coaching spots open. It's kind of like the starting lineup here. We'll see who will fit the coaching carousel. It's, you know, we already got Kevin Stefanski, as we mentioned, Atlanta Hawks. We'll give him a C+. Jesse Minter, we're going to give him a B with the Baltimore Ravens. And Jeff Hafley, we're going to give him a C. And then John Harbaugh, we'll give him an A. And then Robert Saleh, we'll give him a solid B. You know, taking over for the Tennessee Titans. They're looking to get that success back with the, you know, tried and true formula of the Tennessee Titans, and having a solid run game and playing great defense. And they do have some great pieces with Cam Ward already, and Justin Simmons up front in the interior for the Tennessee Titans. They just need, again, the culture. And I think that's what Robert Saleh brings for the Tennessee Titans. So, again, we've seen teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars where they've had 13 losses. We've seen teams like the New England Patriots that had 13 losses. They're in the championship Sunday, a game away from the Super Bowl. So it doesn't take that long for your team to get back to this stage where they are fighting for an opportunity to punch their ticket to a Super Bowl and potentially be hosting a Lombardi Trophy at the end of the season. So yeah, that's what gets me excited about, you know, all these you know, new moves that are happening, because that just lets you know that your team is just a decision away, a hiring away, a pick away, a season away from making that change that you have been waiting for as a fan, as a spectator, and just as a student of the game, and watching everybody kind of just develop. I think that's what's really neat and cool to experience, you know, behind the scenes, and just realizing like, hey, these guys are, you know, achieving a lifelong goal, but they're able to do it at the highest level. And kudos to Mike Vrabel, kudos to Mike McDonald, kudos to Sean McVay, also kudos to Sean Payton. So it's going to be a battle of Sean versus Mike. There's going to be 2 Seans and 2 Mikes. It's going to be the first one is going to be Mike Vrabel going up against Sean Payton, and then the second matchup, the nightcap, is going to be Mike McDonald versus Sean McVay. And Sean McVay's got 1 Super Bowl as a head coach, and also Sean Payton's got a Super Bowl as a head coach. Mike Vrabel, first time as a head coach in this setting. Same deal with Mike McDonald, their first setting, but they know what it takes. They've been a part of winning cultures, and not a surprise to see both the Patriots and Broncos. And we'll break down more of these matchups in the second half here of the 94 podcast. Also, the Seahawks-Rams. We'll take a closer look at that matchup as well on who will be going to the Super Bowl and be in Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara. I'm just excited. A lot of breaking news coming out. I did see that R.J. Harvey has been ruled out for tomorrow's game. That is going to hurt the Denver Broncos because they were already out with Bo Nix for the playoffs. So we'll see what Jarrett Stidham, and we'll take a closer look at Jarrett Stidham when we come back here on the 94 podcast. Stay tuned. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. And we'll be back here in the CCX studios with more on that conversation.